Bring it back.
Hi guys, welcome back to another video on Car Mechanic Simulator. Today we're going to be completely rebuilding this here shell of a Mini Cooper S. I'm pretty sure it's a Mark 1 because we've got the exterior door hinges. So it's a Mark 1 Mini Cooper S. I believe the S is a 1.3. Lovely vehicles. My first car was a 1979 Mini 850. So this is the earlier one, but the S was the much faster one. Certainly faster than an 850. Anything with 0.85 litre of an engine. And if you're an American, I'm sure you probably can't believe that such a car even existed that only had a 0.85 litre engine. But it did, and they were awesome fun. So, to get started, I've already stripped the car down, taken the interior, most of the body panels off, and all the suspension, because it's not very interesting watching me doing that. So what we've got to do is strip down and rebuild the engine, which will be first. Rebuild the suspension, get the body panels back on, get all this huge amount of rust welded back up, and then get it in the body shop to be painted. So, engine wise, let's take off all the intakes. Well, first things first, I'm pretty sure Mini Cooper S wasn't injection. I would have thought it would have carbs. Although someone can probably qualify that in the comments. I know my 850 had carbs. So that's the first fault in the model, possibly. Although someone may correct me if I'm wrong, I apologise. So let's take the engine head off. It's only a very small engine, so it shouldn't be too complicated or take too long to dismantle. Get these taken apart. I've hopefully got most of the suspension components done already and are ready to go back on, so it shouldn't take us too long to rebuild that either. So we should be okay. Let's take the ignition wires and the ignition coil. I'm sure it should be a distributor as well. Which way around does it want me to do this? Take the belts off first. So yeah, so it looks like this is a Mark 1. So obviously, I don't know what age that puts that, sort of late 60s probably, something like that. I forget exactly when Alex Izigonis first developed the Mini, but something like that sort of era. These are pretty expensive now to buy in the UK. They've really gone up. All Minis seem to have gone up a lot in value, particularly even compared to when I had mine, like 7 years ago or something. But I think that's probably true of all classic cars. So we've got all the timing belt off, which allowed to take the cam out. So let's just take the spark plugs out, and that should allow me to take the head off to access the pistons, which it has. Anything else want to come off here? Nope. So let's just spin this engine around, so we can take all the rod caps off and all that stuff. So take the oil pan off the bottom. Okay, so we should be able to access the rod caps. Take these out, if I can click correctly. So it's been a little while since I last did a car mechanic video, at least a good, I don't know, actually probably not that long, 4 or 5 days. I've been away. Let's take the pistons out. I've been away with work for the past couple of days, so I had sort of a series of Oriental Empire videos lined up. But yes, we've got a car mechanic video today, probably a hold fast video tomorrow, and then back with another car mechanic video from Monday. If you've got any suggestions of what cars you'd like to see done for Monday, drop it in the comments below. I'm happy to do sort of whatever people fancy car wise. I enjoy doing lots of different things. But yeah, I chose this one since I had a Mini. I thought it was kind of a cool one to do, and who doesn't love Minis, because they're just such awesome cars. So basically disassembled all the piston assembly, taking the crankshaft out. So that should be the block. Awesome. So now we've got to do the boring bit. Quickly whip over to the repair table, and basically this bit we just have to spam through it really quickly, and no real way of avoiding this. Well, I guess I could cut this out in the edit, but given I'm a little bit lazy and I'm not very good at video editing, I probably won't. So you're probably now sitting through this, unfortunately. Clicking as quickly as I possibly can. Shouldn't take very many more seconds. Should get to the end. Because it's a bit unfortunate, because I'm also repairing some of the suspension components as well. Oops. Okay, so let's head back over to the engine and let's see what's repaired and what hasn't. So the block has been repaired well. It's all brand new. New oil filter on there. So let's go from the bottom end first. Well, we should probably secure the crankshaft in first, and then we'll drop the pistons in. I think I'm going to have to buy new pistons because it normally doesn't repair them. Okay, so we're going to want... Oops, what's going on here? There we go. So let's head to the shop, and then we can get 4 pistons, 4 piston ring seals. If it loads, why aren't you loading? There we go. So piston, 4 of them. Piston rings, 4 of them. While I remember, spark plugs, 4 of them. Idle rollers. Don't know why that wasn't working. Just, I always forget some of them. I just know there's going to be other things that I haven't remembered, but we'll just have to buy them as we go. So let's drop the pistons in. I'll put all the pistons in. I know I'm putting them in upside down, but there we go. And then we'll secure them with the rod caps. Oh yeah, as I said earlier, so this should be a 1.3 litre engine, I think. It's not producing a staggering amount of horsepower. I don't know the figures. I guess it's going to be something like 70, 80, if even that, I would have thought. But because, you know, the Mini is such a... One, it's an old car, which inherently makes it lighter, and it is such a small, but such a mini car. It makes it very light. So it's really not got a lot to propel, and it just handles so awesomely. Even my slow little 850 just was just the bee's knees. It just roundabouts were just utterly awesome fun. So let's spin this back round. And what else have we got to mount? Power steering pump. So we need a new power steering pump. Okay, so let's get a power steering pump. Oh wow, quite a few options for that. I also want to get a flywheel while I'm here, so I know I need them, and I'll need a new clutch assembly. So pop back, add those bits we've just got. I should really probably plan some of the engine parts I'm going to need beforehand on these videos. I try and get it sorted with the suspension because there's so many bits to buy there, but I normally just buy the engine bits as I go, which is what I have been doing. Let's put the release bearing on. Okay, so head, bolt this back in, and then we should be able to drop the cam back in. Yes, that's been repaired. Whether the camshaft caps have, no. 1, 2, 3, 4. So 5 camshaft caps. Oh, we're probably going to need a cam gear as well, actually. Camshaft cap 5. Mount these back on to secure the camshaft in place. Bolt them in. Bolt them in. So once we get this engine in, we'll then have a look at all the suspension setup. Get that all rebuilt, then we'll deal with bodywork, and then we can get into the paint shop. Ah, timing belt. So, one of these days, I'm going to learn all these bits, I know. And then you won't have to sit through my regular shop visits as I try and get all the bits I need to get these engines back built up. Hopefully the intake's been rebuilt, which it has. I still don't think it should be an injection. I think the later Rover Minis, so like the 1990s 1.3s were injection, but I'm I would have said that the earlier ones were not. So I think that's an error. So I want a belt tensioner and a fuel filter. Belt tensioner. Fuel filter. Let's add these on. I know there's going to be some pulleys and things that I haven't remembered because just there always is. And all the serpentine belts. I've got an idle roll at A. I did buy one of them. Did not get a crankshaft pulley. Just drop that fuel filter in. Pretty sure that's floating, but hey ho. So straight for inline 4-8 crankshaft pulley. Crankshaft pulley. There we go. So drop that on, and let's see what else we're missing. The belts, I think. So serpentine belt. Oh wow. That one? Was there 2 of them on here? I cannot remember. Let's drop this one on and see if it tells me I need to put another one on. I do. And it's just and I got the wrong one. Darn it. That one. Okay. So that should be. So that's all the timing belt and sort of the ancillary belts all on. So am I missing anything? Spark plugs. That would be a bit problematic for the proper functioning of the engine if they're not in. So let's get them dropped into place. Oh, ignition coil. Oh dear. I'm going to need the leads as well. Ignition coil. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it shouldn't be a coil. It should be a distributor, I think. But again, not the end of the world. It's just because this is a modded car. It's not an actual generic in-game car. It's just a car someone has created in their own time, sort of with what's available in the game. So I think that's in part some of the problems with these mods is that they've only got to work with. They've only got what is existingly available in the game. So you know, from the existing cars. So that's why I don't think the engines always are perfect. So the engine can now be dropped back into the car. Okay, that looking good. So let's think about this briefly. Is it going to want me to put the front exhaust section on first? Yes, it is. It won't let me put the manifold on until I've hung the exhaust in place for some reason. So if I can hang the front exhaust section there, and then let me put the manifold on. But we'll do that afterwards when we go back to the engine bay. So we'll put the front subframe on. Bolt the rubber bushings in, steering rack. Should be the tie rods. Yep. Which allow me to tie that in. So this is just really a case of putting the front suspension, well, and the rear suspension in time back together. I'm not sure what brakes is going to have. Discs. I'm not sure if it would have had discs. I know mine had all-round drums, but then this is an S, so it is a bit of a better model. So that may be accurate. Someone may know. Put the front drive shaft in. What else have we got? Shock absorber. I didn't get. Oh, I have got them sorted. Okay, good. Well done. Ooh, front sway bar. And bolt that in. And put the new tyre back on. These are fairly awful wheels, I must say. Right. Oh, gearbox. Bolt you back on. At least they've sort of mounted the engine transversely, which is good, which is sort of one of the sort of iconic design features of the Mini, which is what gives it so much room, even though it's such a small car. It's one of the first sort of cars to really do that as a design. So that's kind of cool that they've at least sort of been aware of that. Got a lot of bushing in there. Hopefully we'll have a little drive of it at the end. Hopefully it'll handle properly as well. They handle pretty amazingly because they've just got such, well, they're so small, they're like a go-kart really, and they've got quite firm suspension. Very firm suspension actually. And with a little 1.3 producing a reasonable amount of power on such a light car, it should go pretty quickly as well. the wheel hub in. Front drive axle. What have we got? Shock absorber. And the sway bar there. Allow me to put the wheel back on. So the radiator is only accessible from the engine bay. So let me drop the rear suspension crossmember. Let's just do the rear of the car now. It's nice that they've got the fuel tanks in the proper position. I wasn't aware that there was 2 fuel tanks on either side. There certainly wasn't in my car. But mine was in the boot. And it was just basically a jerry can bolted into the boot. Probably one of the many lesser safe features about the car. Along with its sort of a ability to survive any form of a crash. And it's many faults in that sense, but hey ho, it handles so well you probably shouldn't be crashing anyway. So put the rubber bushing in. If anyone's watching this who actually has a Mini, definitely comment down below. I'd love to hear from you. Been a while since I've been on any of the Mini forums, anything like that. But yeah, it'd be very interesting to see if anyone watches this finds it interesting or didn't know about the fact you can do this sort of thing in this game. It's yeah, pretty cool. I found that with a few of these videos that people have commented and said, you know, oh yes, I've got this car. It's just so cool that you can actually rebuild this sort of stuff and play around with it. Even if it's not perfectly accurate, it's still pretty darn awesome, I think. And yeah, I really like it when I hear that sort of thing. So yeah, let me know. Let's bolt the rear knuckle back on. This is it's got discs on the back as well. I'm not sure that's accurate. I'm fairly sure it must at least have drums on the back. Probably just someone didn't know. Either that or I'm completely wrong and they yes did have discs. It's not impossible. Right, so still got worst wheels ever they are. Right, let's do the other side and then we're pretty much back up and we'll pop back up to the engine bay. Sort of things like the servo assist brakes and that sort of thing. And then we're pretty much good to sort out the bodywork. So brake pads and a caliper, which really should be a drum and a slave cylinder, not a caliper still. I must admit the suspension setup appears to be kind of just fairly generic. I can't remember exactly how they were set up originally. I can't really remember mine that well, but I think this is just a generic car suspension setup rather than Mini specific. But that's just one of the consequences with modded content. I think the game developers are in time planning to sort of release a lot more official content, which you'll see sort of properly modelled, or much more properly modelled engine and suspension, because they won't just be able to use what's currently existing in the game. They'll be able to introduce new parts and that sort of thing. So right, hopefully that's most of the suspension on. Hopefully I haven't forgotten any bushings or anything silly like that, but you never quite know. I normally do. So put the manifold on. That's got a lot of bolts. Get that into place. I think there's a manifold cover in this as well. There it is. Starter motor. Always a useful addition. Okay, so radiator, fan, servo assist. So is there anything else I'm missing from the engine? Probably, but I don't know what it is. So let's just put some oil in it as well actually. It's never a terrible idea to put oil in your cars. Plug that in. Sorry, this is going to turn out to be sort of a relatively long video. I'm just looking, we're up to 20 minutes already. Right, so let's have a look what we've got. Hopefully everything is now on. So we've just got the body panels to do and then the interior. So let's put on, I've got a series of new body panels which I've salvaged off another car. So don't worry, they're not actually going to be this colour, we're not going to be that mismatched. I also need to bring the welder over and sort out the rest of the horrendous amount of rust. I realise I'm doing this in the wrong order. You'd never stick new body panels on before you've cut away the old rust, but it doesn't matter in this game. Wow, for some reason it's got a California license plate. Oops. Misclick there by me. Rear bumper. There we go. It's just a tiny little bit of rear exhaust there. Left window, door, always handy, and the door window. So hopefully, yeah, certainly looking better, isn't it? Ish. A little bit mismatched. No. Okay, just noticed I haven't put a wheel on this side of the car. Well, that is not my finest hour, so that means I've also forgotten something, because it won't even let me put the wheel on. What have I forgotten? Bushing there. Is that what I'm missing? Bushing there. Is that what I'm missing? Oh, sorry about this, guys. Oh no. A wheel hub bearing. And that question is, what else am I missing? Wheel hub cap, surely that... There we go. Well, I didn't do a very good job there. Sorry about that, guys. Get that wheel on. Okay, not an amazing job there. While we're lowering that down, we'll go and grab the welder. This is yes, certainly not the most realistic part. That you'd be able to weld this bad together. And for $1,000. God, if you could fully restore a Mini like that for $1,000, that would be amazing. So, hopefully, interior. I always remember something. So we've got some nice brand new seats and a steering wheel. Okay. So, have I vaguely remembered everything? Yes. Although interior condition for some reason is still a little bit down. Is that a... I don't know why that is. But still, let's get the car to the paint shop. We shall not dwell on such problems. So, paint shop. So, I was planning on doing this car as in basically a Java green is the paint code. That's because that was the colour of my Mini. So, I thought, why not? And I thought it was a pretty awesome colour for the late 70s, which it should be if I'm capable of operating the paint sliders. Sort of a fluorescent green. Oh, getting closer. Oh no, definitely done that wrong. Yeah, it's looking pretty close. If you want to know what the real colour looks like, if you Google, Google Images Mini in Java green, you'll get an idea of what the real one should look like. It's a truly awesome colour. Look at that. That is now a slightly rusty mirror. I'll have to find out why the interior hasn't repaired quite so well. But apart from that, it's looking pretty nice. I just thought of one thing. Battery. Unless we're going to bump start it. That's useful. Right, hopefully I've not forgotten anything. So I'm just going to head out to the test track and see if I've forgotten something. It will now tell me that I've screwed something up. No. So it's letting us take it out. Let's hit up the test track and see how this thing drives. Ooh, it's fairly nippy. Yep, well, it certainly handles a bit like a go-kart. Ooh, bit of understeer. I should add, I'm trying to do this on a keyboard, and it's not got exactly the best driving simulation in this game at the best of times. And trying to do it with keys just makes it even harder. Lovely. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this video. It's certainly a bit of a different car, probably one better known by British viewers than American, but maybe I'm wrong there. Just plough it into a hedge. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, please give the channel a subscribe, comment below anything you want to say about the video, good or bad, or if you own a Mini yourself, I'd love to hear from you. And yes, say subscribe, like the video. Thanks guys, and I'll see you on the next one.